Democrats are planning to impeach the outgoing president, or at least that notion is gaining momentum. What is the likelihood of that going ahead?
Good morning, Danica. Actually, it's very, very good. They're trying to push him out. Right now, the Democrats, who have the numbers, and everything in Washington is about the numbers, are about ready to introduce a formal article of impeachment. They're going to charge the president with inciting insurrection, which is quite a stretch. And they want to arrest him and shame him. And the important thing about impeaching him, which may look like a ridiculous thing to some people, why would you want to do that when someone's leaving office in 10 days, is because then they will be able to bar him from holding public office ever again. So here we have a president who's melting behind the scenes, surrounded by a number of loyalists. He's going to be impeached. And they're going to try to arrest everyone around him. They're going to go for the kids and everybody else. So that means that the self-pardon is off the table. And he doesn't quite know what to do next. But it's important to note that this all turns on the definition of insurrection. Now, what I saw, of course, was a political protest that went crazy, and it was exacerbated by the president's bad behavior. I think it'd be very hard to prove this. And I can actually note that Alan Dershowitz, the great liberal lawyer from Harvard University, is probably going to defend the president on impeachment because he says you cannot weaponize the Constitution of the United States to get at the chief executive. So he's going to argue for the general principles here. Now, the president is in a lot of trouble, and I think he's going to have to start issuing those pardons for his children and the people around him and the rest of it. And of course, the important thing here also is Biden. Now, Biden is trying to hit the ground running in a couple of days. And right now, his party is demanding that he hold the president and everyone who supported him, including the senators, accountable for this insurrection. And they're not going to follow Biden unless he takes up their agenda, and that is goes after these people. And of course, if he goes after these people, there will be no unifying of the American people. We got 75 million people out there, plus 10 million in the hills who will support the president. And so this further divides the American people. And so it's going to be a very rough ride going forward. You might note, or your people might note, that right after January 6th, right after this riot in Washington, the stock market went up. So once again, the Wall Street can ignore the soap opera in Washington. But you can't ignore it this time because the Democrats are going to go after everybody. And this is the beginning of a purge, cancel culture, or whatever you want to call it. They want to go after senators and representatives and everybody else. So we're in for a hell of a slide.
Absolutely. It's only just beginning. What now for President Donald Trump, particularly now in the final weeks of his administration?
Well, I think he's got two problems. Number one, he has to protect himself legally, so he has to figure out what to do, what pardons that he's going to have to work at, putting a legal team together, and I'm sure he's doing that. And of course, the second thing, Danica, and you would know how important this is, he's been deplatformed by Facebook and Twitter. He ain't got no bully. He's got no pulpit anymore. He's going to have a tough time getting out there, so he's going to develop his stream service a lot quicker than he was going to. And so, this is extraordinary. You have Facebook and Twitter, which owns the battlefield now, and they are deciding not only what someone can say that is based on their words, but what the implications of what they're saying. So the reason they cut him off at the knees was because they think he is giving signals to his people, to his followers, to come to Washington and to make as much trouble as possible on the inauguration, because the key word is the president said he wasn't showing up. Well, I've said on your show for a long time now, he's never going to show up anyway. So we've got all these different things at play. So legally, he's got to figure out what to do next. And in terms of his social platform, he has to figure out how to communicate with his former 88 million followers on Twitter. Imagine that, 88 million people listening to this guy first thing in the morning. Yes. So those are his big problems right now.
Yeah, that's a massive base, and certainly Twitter in particular, as we know, has been his key platform. Professor Joe Siracusa, I appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.